Oh, there's a lot to talk about. I always have a lot to talk about. Good morning. Or good afternoon, or good evening, or good day. So, I do want to read out the news headlines, if I can get to them. But I'm getting a lot of my comments deleted on Instagram because, of course, I'm, like many others, commenting on the topical issues of the day. But an interesting thing is I'm commenting on, and I mentioned this in yesterday's live, which, by the way, I still haven't published anything from 29th, 1st, and 2nd, and we missed one of the days in between anyway. But yeah, I've been talking, I talked about that this billionaire's wedding in India and how another billionaire, Rihanna, was invited to go and, sing, etc. By the way, Rihanna made her billions from her cosmetic empire. But not everyone's Taylor Swift, where they can, sing about the F-boys that they all insist on being with because for some reason these girls think that they can change. Anyway, so she's the only musician who's been able to make billionaire status. That's great. Anyway, so I go on to these, I'm not go on to them. These are not, I don't go on to them. These are news. I don't go and harass people on their personal accounts. I don't want to go onto their accounts, but I go onto public news accounts, particularly these, and news accounts and magazine accounts have a role to not be sycophants to all these billionaires.
Yeah, right.
But they, it's all the salivating over the jewels and the clothing dripping over all these people. So I had, yesterday we talked about one of these accounts and I showed you what people are saying. So I had said billionaires, billionairing while the world goes to shit. And then there's all these detractors, right? They're usually young Indian guys, and really problematic. And not just young Indo guys, there's some Euro guys there too who let the billionaires billionaire. They got there through hard work, and that's just like, oh my God. These are the people who believe if they dress nicely for economy, they'll get upgraded to first class. You're idiots. That may have been possible 50 years ago, not anymore. And so just a tip, you're not going to get up unless you pay full fare economy and you're like a frequent flyer of the airline carrier. Or you've got some influence somewhere. That's the only way you get upgraded to business. And from business is when you get upgraded to first class. So give up, okay? So these are the same people sucking, filleting billionaire egos. But it's like you think these billionaires trolling Instagram, and for all I know now, with all my comments being deleted, maybe they are. Who knows? But I think billionaires protect billionaires, of course. And so if you're on a platform run by billionaires, well...
Aren't most news platforms owned by billionaires?
Well, there you go. There's that.
So.
But these are Indian news platforms, etc., that just, gosh, they basically have orgasms over all these celebrities. So I think it's fairly disgusting that in a world that even middle-class privilege, and by that I mean, people who have mortgages and 2 cars and an investment property and, well, okay, forget that, just your average middle-class privilege, where, there's 2-car family, of course the parents work, and there's constant stress, there's constant credit cards, these people, because you've got to get all the markers of supposed civilized society. The traps of it all. This is if we ever need to tell another planetary life form how to control, manipulate, exploit, this, Earth has got it really, like the capitalist structure of trapping people and continuing, perpetuating it. And sadly, activism comes into that as well. So, yeah, but as I showed you yesterday, so there's these guys who think that they're really doing something wise by defending these billionaires. And it's hilarious. And they're so racist. And I've opened my Instagram account back to public just so you can see, yeah, mate, look at me. I'm not... Okay. I'm not going to go further on that one. But it's hilarious. And then people immediately go, well, I don't get the jealous thing. Because, hello... But there's this other comment I made, and I'm being a troll. Yes, I'm being a troll, but I'm being a troll. I'm trolling the trolls.
Yeah.
I troll the trolls. If you're going to be a troll, use your shitheadness for good reasons, you know. So I troll the trolls, and I wrote. There's this Natasha Poonwalla, her name is, and she's this Indian multi-millionaire. I think they're billionaires, married to this billionaire Poonwalla. And they hold all the vaccinations, etc., etc. I think I've described to you, I talked about it a bit yesterday, how we personally know a lot of people who use their philanthropy and to make their greedy wealth justifiable. There's a lot of people, rich people, wealthy people, obscenely wealthy people, who say that they give a lot, they do a lot for people, they do this, they do that, to make their excess justifiable. So that's why they can go and drop, $10,000 a week, and, these European labels, mind you. But anyway, so this Natasha Poonwalla, and I'm actually saying names now because you want to put yourself out there on this one? Okay. So she disguises herself as a philanthropist and does so much for the Indian people. Like what? Your family literally gets rich off their backs. And, it's like, oh God, look, I come from a country, we don't have billionaires for all I know, they probably are.
Yeah.
Because apparently the GDP of Fiji is US 4-point-something billion, so that gross domestic product. So, I'm sorry, what? Who's earning all that money? Anyway, and tourism, really, and so there's a lot of secretive tourism going on behind the middle class tourism. There's all the luxury tourism going on that people don't get to know about.
Wow.
There's all the fact that Fiji water is owned by a non-Fiji person and has never been owned by a Fiji person. It was started by an American, it's now sold to Americans, and the island where that artesian water is, oh gosh. How is it done, I wonder? How do they gather this water? Where is it bottled?
I don't know.
Fiji water, and it's the people who own it now are incredible marketers. They're really rich,
Yeah.
and incredibly good at marketing. And so Fiji water is now in the backdrop of pretty much every red carpet and shows, etc. It's all placement, product placement. Anyway, going back to what I'm saying, it's just justifying wealth by how much. When you're getting rich off the people, then that you turn around and say you're helping. Yeah, I don't know. It's and I look at these women, and I'm going to say something really contentious to you because understand this. I am a champion of womanhood. I love that I'm a woman. And if you're asking, well, how do you know you're something else? Well, I think of it this way. For say, non-binary and trans people, imagine being born. So I go, oh gosh, I can't imagine being born in a man's body. Likewise, right? Because we're binary, and I guess by societal structures, we're lucky. Cis hetero. And I couldn't imagine not being comfortable in my skin and in my vessel. And I'm a binary feminine in a binary feminine body. But imagine being at odds with that. So I think, oh my gosh. That's how I understand how difficult it must be for trans people. It sounds simplistic, like I shouldn't make everything about myself. Well, how else are you going to understand,
Yeah, that's right.
somebody else's So that's how I had to really come to terms and understand that this is terrible for trans people and non-binary people to experience. And so that's why I say to you, I love being a woman. And despite and in spite of the world's insistence on destroying that which brings the world's what? Supposed custodians to being. I mean, where else do you think you came from? Jeez. I think women are destroying the world. I know. Woo! Big, 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 big thing I just said there. Okay. Not destroying. Perpetuating the destruction. Why are you still having children? Why are you marrying these little weaklings? Why? Because you think that you can get power? I look at these. Why are all these gorgeous women marrying really ugly guys? I don't get it. This Ambani wedding, this son. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. And I know. Oh, no body shaming. It's not body shaming. It's not any of that shit. Okay, get over yourselves. But what an? It's a pair on legs.
Yes.
You know, I don't understand what's going on. Why are all these gorgeous women?
Is that arranged, do you think?
Well, apparently it's a love marriage, you know, but gorgeous women, and I know this because, well, I've been considered one. Gorgeous women think that we seem to think that beauty is no, I don't. I never have. But we seem to feel guilty about wanting to have a gorgeous man. And because gorgeous men are so rare, beautiful women start feeling insecure, especially those beautiful women who don't understand what beauty really is. Especially beautiful women who think beauty is all about the skin, the surface side of it. And so, therefore, they think if they marry a non-beautiful man, they will remain forever exalted.
Right.
So it's a power imbalance. So these beautiful women, especially these Indian women, they marry all these rich, ugly guys. It's you know.
Well, I mean, as a guy, like straight, well, I don't know how to say it.
Cis hetero, yeah.
Cis hetero, right? I've noticed that as well. Women always go for the guys with the money, and
you're generalizing though, right? Because
well,
not all of us.
But like in my 20s and 30s, it's hard for me to, you know, even hook up with a hot woman.
Sure, because we have to go demographics too, and so when you were in Australia, you didn't have a problem.
Well, that's right. So.
Bigger country, but you go back to someplace like Fiji, where by the time you went back, this is 4 coups later, right? And and now women are using the only thing that they think they have, and that's their youth and their beauty, to get security. Because I saw it in the 90s with all the models I was modeling with. Their main goal was to use their beauty and all of their electricity of youth to get security, which I call womb rental.
Well, this is interesting. I'm going to go race here, right?
Oh.
Because as a brown guy, I would score with white women a lot. And it was really hard to hook up with someone of brown skin.
Brown women tend to look for, again, generalizing, I'm a GenXer, I'm in my 50s, you're in your 40s, we're talking about
that's right, so this is
things,
our time, right?
But I don't know if it's any better.
I don't know. I haven't,
well I know, right? What do we know? But it's, we're talking about different times. I was 20s, in my 20s in the 90s, you were in your 20s in the noughties.
So 2000s, early 2000s, till about 2010 maybe, something like that. Yeah, early 2000s.
Well, back then, but I still feel this, but I don't know, I'm seeing a lot of, especially, with brown and black people and in colonized, they're basically Euros, in colonized structures and Eurocentric structures, constructs, sorry. So brown women, I guess, were looking for longevity, like what people can get them in the long run. Also, they status quo. Right. So it becomes a case of, me being born to privilege, I have always been in the circles of privilege, right? And there is where I noticed all of this, because I was born with the ability to see how privilege is a fallacy, and it's not. People seem to. There are people who are not in the privileged circles who seem to think that that's what life is.
Yeah, right.
That only those people, only the beautiful people, only the rich, these people can get these things. So of course everyone starts coveting that. This is what all these losers, these ego fillators on Instagram are doing, because that's all they want too. They want the same thing. So of course they're going to champion the very thing that they
want something beautiful, right?
Well, this is interesting. And this is what beauty is. All of a sudden everybody wants something beautiful.
Yeah. That's another.
No, let's finish what we were saying about this, because I'm saying a very contentious thing here, because I think women could stop it all.
Yes.
Women could stop all of it.
Absolutely, 100%.
But women don't.
They're falling for the patriarchal
Kool-Aid. They drank it.
Yeah.
And but that's for youngins. That's a reference to something that happened in the 70s, and that was Jim Jones, the Reverend Jim Jones, who convinced his cult. He wasn't a reverend.
Jamestown?
It's one of those things. To drink Kool-Aid as their cordial, and he had poisoned it. And so that became a term, to drink the Kool-Aid, because... but this is it. People have voluntarily fallen for, without understanding anything and thinking that that there's something by weighing themselves down with all the trappings of the capitalist Eurocentric, especially, structures.
So women literally have the power to change
Women
it.
literally have the power. Close your wombs. Not saying close your legs, but but it's still the thing where now women are having sex like guys, and it's like that's no. They've opened their legs and closed their minds, kind of thing. Women have always had the power, and that's why the patriarchy took it away. And what is it about all of us who get oppressed, and I'm talking in general terms now, why is it allowed? Why do we allow it? That's another thing. Again, that's like, shut up, woman. We don't allow it. They take it. Well, you're right, they do. They take it by force. I've been raped twice when I was 13. The second rapist tried to rape me again at 19, thinking we had a relationship. I thought, okay, dickhead. And as I have now told my husband, back when we were there was nothing jest about us, but colleagues on assignment, this second rapist, right in front of his partner and my friend, when he hugged me, squeezed my breast.
Yeah, wow. I didn't even...
Yeah, well, and I had to So
at that age, right?
Yeah.
Far out.
Just this mocked me kind of thing, So yeah, okay. So I understand how these things can be taken by force, and I didn't implode until 2022. By the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm very open about the things that have happened in my life that have caused some trauma. I've had violence and rapes and all that shit. But I personally am bored with the trauma side of things. I don't like to wallow in it. I know a hell of a lot of people like to wallow in their trauma because because misery gets more attention. I'm very much on a healing trajectory. I'm not saying I don't slip off that mountain, that climb up, because sometimes it's a nice gentle slope, a hillside. Sometimes it's a cliff that I'm hanging on with just one finger. But this healing shit works. It's just that it's really, really hard. Anyway, what I'm saying is I do understand how things are it forces us. And then what happens is that fighting is that glass ceiling. It's that glass wall for guys. It's a glass ceiling for women. It's a glass cliff. It's everything. The glass cliff is an interesting thing where, especially in the state of America, they're throwing black women into the optics. So black women are at the UN defending the state of America's right to defend Israel. Black women. They make them ambassadors at the UN. So this is what's happening. Women are now going to be used as shields by the patriarchy just because women are like, no, we need to be in positions of power. But they get there and they realize they can't change anything. And I think this is what happened to ex-New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, where she realized, there's only so much she can do, because women, and I don't really know how to change any of it unless we all unite. But women are fragmented, and feminism is one of those things that fragments us. It segregates us. I say this as a long-term feminist. From the moment I knew what feminism was, and that was at age 11, till 51, I'm 53 now, I have called myself a feminist until I realized, oh my gosh, I have always been against the feminism because feminism is a white construct. White women started it for white women's rights, not for women's rights. Oof. And then that same template was adopted by women. And then, but usually brown and black women have been able to see, except if you're in a colonized structure like Fiji, then they're very much about judging other women's choices. And get this though, I do have to say this, that feminism is not misandry. Don't make that mistake that feminism is about hating males. It's not. That's a different thing. A lot of male haters then hide under misandry, but let me tell you this, misogynists come in every shape and gender. And I know many women misogynists, and these are women who are very liked, and they're lovely, and blah, blah, blah. They want to keep all these women friends just so that they can control them and always be the top dog of that. And these are women who actually hate other women, misogynists, right? It's not just the patriarchy. It's not just these males. Sadly, it's sad to say, but there's also gay males are misogynists. I'm so tired of hearing gay males go, oh, yuck, vulva, vagina.
So many times.
So many times.
Yeah.
In front of me, I've heard gay males go yuck about.
Yeah.
And I was like, where do you think you came from? And what's yuck? You know, you don't have to go there. You're gay.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, what? And then of course there's all these women who just think that gay males are the ideal male. Yeah, that's because they don't want to have sex with you. Because you stupidly gave yourself over. Oh, I don't know. Again, I'm now starting to sound like a misogynist, and I am seriously not. I love women. I close your wombs. Why are you all still having children? Why are you perpetuating the patriarchy by marrying ugly males and perpetuating the myth that power is what gets That's what happens. See, so now we were talking about what was the case with you, darling, when you went back to Fiji after, studying. And yeah, but by that time, it was always difficult in Fiji. If you're not born to privilege, it's difficult. In a small pond full of big personalities, if you're not born to privilege, and this is true of the world, especially now with more people we have, the hustle culture, where it's no longer about merit. If you're not born with the privilege, if you're not born into privilege, you will not get the opportunities. Forget the rags to riches bullshit. As I'm saying, forget the economy to first class. It's not happening. People think that, so the majority of the world is traveling up the front on debt, on points. Accumulate the credit card points. Do this, do that, then do that. It's like, I have been traveling since the moment I was born. I know all the shit, okay? So it's no longer, it's not enough to be good looking, and plus Fiji is slightly racist, slightly. But this is where you were looking at women, gorgeous women, and they'd be going with some really interesting guys, and people would say, don't judge a book by the cover because these guys could be really nice. Yeah. The thing is, these guys, once they get the hot girl, for some reason they think that they're the shit. And it's like, excuse me? I'm the one that's kind of making you, Look, I have been with a narcissist, and he's the least, my ex-partner is the least of my, the people, my friends. Oh, God. I have always chosen, my ex-partners have always been shadows of what I was eventually meant to be. Who I was eventually meant to be with. But still they were, of a higher caliber, and I've always been a bit smug about that. But that didn't make me exempt from
the optics are there.
The optics.
So it's still.
See, and yeah. Mm.
It's hard to.
My ex-partner is older.
Yeah.
and euro. And because at that stage, when over 2 decades ago, I just needed comfort. I didn't,
Without knowing either one of you, the assumption is made that,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's just...
Oh, always, everywhere. So that's something we can talk about another time. But I'm talking about my friends are the narcissists, and that's why I know, lots of women, unfortunately, and lots of gay males, and I know why they get attracted to, say, people like me. But what I attract narcissists. I used to attract before I came face to face with myself and my trauma and the narcissistic traits traumatized people have as well. And so, you've really got to really confront yourself on those things. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. I'm talking about women. What are you doing? And then now feminism has said that, true independence is earning your own money and perpetuating the capitalist structures, still on, and it's all traps. It's all traps. Traps. Women, to be independent and be a true feminist, have it all. You can't do that. Women have to give up this need to have children. You've got to fight your biological, the body is going to do what the body does. The body in the woman who was given the major responsibility of incubating, creating, of choosing the sperm, and that's how it happens, because you first choose the sperm like this, and we're all masked. Everyone's masked by makeup and tattoos and clothing and whatever, and behavior and cars and money. That's all. All that stuff is taken over from pheromones and hormones. So you have all the materialistic, synthetic hormones. And so no one's with the right people. So women have been fooled because women need trust. So the less trust women have, the more cynical women have become, and that's what leads to these, don't want beauty, I've been fooled. Because beautiful guys are so rare, they become assholes.
Sure.
Because they can have any woman they want. Women love beauty. My gosh, we go gaga over each other. With strangers, it's great to be in a bar and going to the restrooms at a bar with other women, like, oh my God, girl, you're so gorgeous, kind of thing. But except Euro girls don't always do that too. Anyway, depending on which racial group is trending, then the Euro girls will then, Anyway, it's all very strange. I understand why Taylor Swift is a billionaire, because she sings about angst and heartbreak and not and whatever. So yeah, that's why she appeals to all these people. But so, darling, I do get, because these women want security, because in places like Fiji, sadly, it's the world over. It's still happening here. The more the more then attention you get, and then it becomes a trophy run. Because, and don't tell me that women are different now. I'm sorry. All of this, it's still misogyny. It's misogyny. Women still changing themselves. I'm not saying guys aren't doing it. Look at the Beckhams. They're very, heavily filtered and fillered, etc., etc. That's because, well, I don't know. I guess they've got to stay relevant to each other. But guess what? It's harder for the woman. I don't know. The woman's got to have all the children. And now I'm seeing all of this, behavior from these. They call themselves men, but they're toxic males, who talk about women in terms of what's her usage rate or whatever.
What's that mean?
The older the older she is, the more she's been used.
Wow.
A very archaic thing that Indian people, because somebody said to me once when I was 18, an Indian girl said, "You're a UG, aren't you?" I'm like, "What's a UG?" Used girl. I'm like, just because no one wants to fuck you doesn't mean I'm a UG, mate. Sorry. It was said by someone.
Let's go back.
Well, it was like, jealous little shit. And, of course, it's like, yeah, I should have said, yeah, you're right. I was raped twice when I was 13. Anyway, but that's what females say to each other. Females are worse. Patriarchy has made foot soldiers out of women because women judge each other worse, harshly, and compete against each other. Women don't compete with guys. Women compete with women.
For guys.
Ugh. And again, you're going to say, not everybody. Really? 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 Okay. I don't see anything changing. It's this other dickhead loser on Instagram was like, the world, this is a story of time. Since time began, the world has always been going to shit. It's just, we move on inch by inch. Bullshit.
This is why nothing's changed.
That's right. And by the way, time is a man-made construct to harness and measure the world that already exists. Change the story. If we were given all the riches already, we were born into a planet that has it all, what the hell are you doing? Perpetuating. This is what it terrifies me. Nothing's going to change. Well, you've said that before. Why hasn't anything changed?
If it hasn't changed now.
And people are going to say, well, excuse me, belligerent old Gen X woman. Things have changed. Yeah, like what? Have they changed for the better? Certain things have. Women can do certain things. Same-sex couples can get married and have children. But oh, by the way, that gay males seem to still, you don't, especially trans women don't quite understand the male privilege. Male privilege isn't just the surface thing, it's the confidence that a male is born with. I'm not saying it's easy, okay? As I said earlier, I could not imagine being an alien inside your own skin. But let's just understand why trans men don't get the same attention as trans women. Something we talk about a lot. But I'm going to go back to address this very contentious thing I've said about women are destroying the world because we're perpetuating it. And by, this thing is because anytime women say something against women, we get accused of being jealous. We get accused of being non-feminist. And it's like we can't. And I too have done that.
That's half the problem then.
Yeah, because we have to go, oh gosh, because we understand. Because particularly, there's this term called pick-me girl. And that's that, this thing where women, like, I'm not like other girls, I'm different. And when a guy says to a girl, you're not like other girls, it's supposed to be seen as a compliment, as a badge of, like, acceptance. And I'm like, I have to admit, when I was younger, I too took that as a compliment because in my circles that meant I had a brain. Kind of sad because being a former model, and when I was a model I was also a serious journalist. I had started on radio and I was on television. I was a singer as well. So it was, in our small tropopolitan, it was a given that I was a bit of an anomaly. So when people, I was used to people saying, you're different. I'm like, yeah, thanks. It's not the insult you think it is. And so when guys would say to me, you're not like other girls, for me, I'd be like, thank you. But I still take umbrage at that because it's like, oh, so you've accepted that all women are a certain way,
Yeah, right.
It's, so I still had a bit of a problem with that. It's the same thing that as an Indo-Fijian, I'm not Indian, I'm Indo-Fijian. There's a difference. We may have, it's like saying Australian, well then why can't you say that Australians and the state of Americans and Canadians and everybody, they're all European. If I'm Indian, then Australians are European. And as are Americans, it's like, calm down. So I'm Indo-Fijian. And as an Indo-Fijian, one of the highest accolades an Indo-Fijian can get, Wananavu, Oh my God, these people. The highest accolade an Indo-Fijian can get is you're not like the others. And it's like, whoo, okay.
Yeah.
You know, that one and I've always said is, what does that mean? Wonderful.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
Awesome.
Is just a bit of a cynical go. It's an inside joke of ours, where there's a lot of people in Fiji who pretend not to be who they are just so that they can be accepted, and I don't blame them because it's really, really tough. It's tough out there if you want to be someone who, you know, and achieve things, etc. And all the masks that people wear. Anyway, this is not about all of that. I guess it is. It's about women. Women just want to be... Look, again, another contentious thing. Women want to be cared for. And frankly, I don't think women should have to work. Because it's good enough that we're women. Because holy cow, the responsibility of being a woman. Now, I have never given birth because, ew. And I love children, but... Yeah, not for me, thanks. And again...
10 minutes at a time.
You could have been a teacher. You're so... Children settle with you. They really, you know... Whereas I know there's certain kinds of children who know I don't take shit. And I say that because I have been a stepmother for over 2 decades. And I brought up 5 children from babyhood to adulthood. And they got absolute love from me. Not unconditional, because my love is like, well, you're a shithead. I'm not going to, if you're going to continue to be a shithead, I'm not talking about naughtiness.
Yeah.
Children are going to be naughty. They're going to explore push boundaries. Great. But there's a line. And I'm a Gen X, so don't forget. So maybe this, look, it's, no, children, no, I'm not going to let you express your creativity by writing all over the walls and stuff like that and taking scissors to create pretty patterns out of curtains and my clothes. Get out.
Not the clothes.
Not the clothes. However, I did tend, it was, that's another thing I'm going to talk about at a separate time, but I'm, I don't know, I have lost the thread of there, but I'm just going to go back to the whole pregnancy thing as well, because I had said earlier that biological thing that happens in women, it's a natural thing that happens, just like our periods and menopause. I'm past menopause now, and it's really good after menopause. I mean, holy cow, I don't have hot flushes anymore. I've been perimenopausal since about 41, 42. My biological clock was ticking ferociously in my late 30s, and I had to battle it, because I knew I did not want to have children. Besides, I was mother of these 5 children, So you have to battle it. It doesn't mean that, oh, the call has come, I must obey it. You've got to battle it. You really don't need more children in this world. Why do you need to have children? Examine this. I have recently was talking to this young woman who was all change the world, fight for the world, women. No, she was going for men's rights. And I was like, yeah, nah, don't go for men's rights right now. You can't call yourself a feminist and fight for men. It's just not the way it's done. But all she really wanted was to have a child. And now she's got a child, all the feminism and all the sisterhood and all the, all that stuff's gone. But it's not about the child. It's about... And I think I've said this before, there's so many people having children to make up for what they didn't have. And these children are going to disappoint them. And when you live vicariously, when you have children you're not recognizing that these are individuals. You're giving birth to another human being. And of course, males have it easy. They just, do the deed or whatever and...
Carry on.
Yeah. Anyway, I've forgotten the threads here that I'm talking about. So this is why we need a manager, darling. We need someone to can you just take notes so that you can put me back into where I was? Some people would say, get a script. No, that's the whole point. There's no script because there's too much script. Everything is a construct. Do this, do this, do this, say this, say this, say this. How to be authentic in 10 steps. Or what I had said about women. Because women can save the world. And that's what you said. That's what and men and males know it. Don't say men. Men is a very sacred term. Man is something males need to earn the right to be men. Males need to man up. Man is a sacred term. Man is that which is worthy of being woman's companion. In a world of non-binary and same-sex, think of it in terms of energy then. The masculine energy needs to be worthy of the feminine energy. Women don't want to have to slave. If we want to work, it's because we have skills we want to showcase. But if you don't, why are these women having babies and then working to pay bills and struggling? And what's with all these, single mothers? These... I'm not blaming the single mother, by the way. I'm blaming all these dickheads who sow their seeds because, I don't know. Women have the power to save the world. You've said this. I know this. Women like me, people don't want to hear from women like me. Because you've got to abolish everything. And I'm not saying it has to be total annihilation, but it has got to be a complete solidarity. And while we're all still segregated by race and gender and blah, 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 no, I'm actually, women have got to unite. Cis women, especially. Cis women have got to unite because we're allowing the constructs to take away something that was given to us as responsibility. I chose to be responsible by not having children. Like, why do we need more children in the world? I was given the gift of being a mother to 5. I'm not going to bring a child out of my... God. But going back to the Fiji thing, women are... It's become so difficult in these small ponds that women, young women especially, use all what they think is their most valuable asset, and that's their surface. And when they get older, they get worried. So they go for older guys, thinking that, well, they'll be old and then they can play nursemaid. Except the older guys go, well, I got this hottie and she's old now. I'm going to go for another young one. And there's always going to be another young woman doing the same thing. And so women fail each other all the time. But yeah, we're great in groups of friends and we all gel and stuff. Oh, God. Women have the power. And because it's really tiring. Because, I have to admit, I don't want to be famous. Because, you've got to contend with people like me who are going to pull you down. And I don't care about that, really. It's like, now I realize now I definitely know who I am.
You don't pull people down?
Oh, I don't pull people down, no. But I will never go and say someone like Jennifer Lopez's account and say, trash her. But I do cite her and Naomi Campbell and Natasha Poonwalla as, what are you doing? What are you doing? I just got a cough, that's what I'm doing. Why? It's all still perpetuating. It's all still keeping the constructs in place. It's not going to change. And I had said much earlier in today's episode, I slipped in activism. People use activism and advocacy, etc., as a shield, as a way to feel like they're contributing. But it's become events now. Protest marches have become events. Like, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, let's go protest at this one, that one. Because it makes people feel like we're doing something, right? Yeah. We've been to protest marches. I've, always advocate and whatever, because I come from this mentality. Well, I was born to privilege. Forget the trauma I was born to. Forget it. That forged me, that shit. That made me see things very clearly. Made me see people, understanding. Because I, again, just quickly on the trauma side, I was born into violence, into privilege, to a man who was a man of the people on the outside, but to my mother and me, well, was a demon. And I'm not saying that there wasn't good times. There was great times. I mean, my gosh, my childhood is full of great memories as well as some terrible things. And escaping all of those terrible things is what led to the rapes, etc. Anyway, by other privileged, other, men of the people. So I have always looked at my privilege and gone, no, you know what? You've got to use all of this to spotlight an inequity, an imbalance. Equity has been a fairly recent term into what we know we need. We've always been talking about equality. We need equality. But equality is just giving everybody the same box, regardless of the people's heights. That's what it is. Equity is giving people of differing heights, differing height boxes so that everyone can have the same outlook on life. That does mean people of merit may get more. People who just want to just enjoy what the people of merit are providing, but they get to enjoy it without struggle. Yes, we all know we've got to pay bills. Well, this is the way the world gives each other purpose. And people have purpose. People like to work. I'm not saying women don't like to work. Women love it. We're administrators, we're organizers, we can plan things, we can just make things, conjure things out. Women are fantastic. The greatest asset this planet will ever know. But hell, the planet is heaven. The planet is the greatest asset we will know, human beings, because it created us and gave us everything. We were basically born into a smorgasbord that gave us free will, and this is what we've done with it. Privilege does need the concept of it and the constructs that keep it there. It needs to be abolished. Maybe not abolished because, hey, don't get me wrong, I like privilege, okay? I like it for everybody. I cannot. It's like, well, this is why I mentioned these celebrities and these billionaires. How can you enjoy your life when the world is not getting better? Because you people get richer off the backs of these people. Don't we want to all gain through beautiful, loving means? Don't we all want to be privileged knowing that no one else is suffering around us? We have a finite life cycle. We know sadness. We know suffering. It can happen. That's what makes the other things, the happiness, the gratitude, Gratitude is what underlines everything. Happiness is harmony of all emotions. Privilege needs to be leveled so that everyone has that which this planet intended for us all to have. What that is, of course, depends on you. And it terrifies me actually how people are so empty. Anyway, well, that's us for today on the Daily Egg for, what is the date today, darling? It's Monday, March the 4th, 2024, and it has been our pleasure to present to you the Daily Egg. Ta-da! Thank you very much for being here. We'll be back tomorrow or whenever you're watching this. See you again sometime. Thank you. Bye.